fun die cuts turn into the sweetest Easter card you've ever seen. Hey friends, I'm Kelly Wicker. Spring is sprung in my craft room, and today I'm walking you through every step using Sizzix Tim Holtz dies called Bunny Games and one of his 3D embossing folders called Intertwine. You don't want to miss how this one comes together, so stick around. Okay y'all, so I went ahead and did all the die cutting off camera just to save a little time for video purposes. I have all the pieces sitting here in this porcelain watercolor mixing palette tray. It's the same one that Kathy uses. It's actually perfect for this because all the little die cuts stay separated and I'm not chasing tiny pieces all over my desk. So the cardstock I'm using today is all from Lawn Fawn. I love Lawn Fawn cardstock. It's really fun. It's their texture and shimmer and sparkle cardstock, and I really love the texture it adds. I didn't want this card to look too flat with plain smooth cardstock, so the sparkle and the shimmer really makes everything pop. I'll have it linked down below in the description box because I picked all of mine up on Amazon. This die set is from Sizzix and Tim Holtz, and it's honestly the sweetest little set. Yeah, I know, surprise. This is not a Spellbinders video, so this is something different from me today. So it's an older one, but who cares, right? Older dies are still amazing, and I love pulling them out and using them again. So right now I'm just starting to piece everything together. I'm working on my Tim Holtz Media Grip Mat, which I love for this step, because it keeps all those tiny pieces from sliding around. So some of the extra Easter elements that I'm going to be using, like the balloon, the tiny Easter eggs, and the little chicken. That little chicken is just so cute. Wait till you see it. So those items are from the Sizzix Easter Icons die set. I just thought that little heart balloon was too cute not to use. You can see it there in the palette. So, and those sparkle Easter eggs, oh my goodness, I love them. I just love Easter crafting. It's so fun. And at this point, I'm just really having a lot of fun and playing around with the pieces to build the scene. Okay, so here I'm just piecing together this cute little banner. I die cut it out in a bunch of different colors, and now I'm just mixing and matching the pieces until it looks fun and colorful. For the glue, I'm using my go-to, which is Barely Art's liquid glue. I keep it in this fine line bottle from Spellbinders because it gives me a lot more control, especially when I'm working with tiny pieces like these little banner flags. So I did swap out the tip though. It had a yellow tip on the Spellbinders bottle, but I did replace it with an art glitter metal tip, and honestly it makes a big difference. The glue comes out in a really fine line so you don't end up with too much glue squishing out everywhere. You do get glue boogers occasionally, but that's normal with liquid glue. It just makes those small detailed pieces a lot easier to glue down neatly. So I'm just adding a tiny bit of glue to each piece and lining them up across the banner. This part is kind of relaxing, just taking my time and putting all the little pieces together. I just love using pastel colors for Easter cards. There's something about those soft pinks, yellows, blues, oranges, and purples that just instantly feels like spring to me. It makes everything look light and cheerful, which is exactly the vibe I want for an Easter card. And I really need light and cheerful right now. And then when you add the sparkle cardstock on top of that, it just makes it even more fun. I mean, who doesn't love a little sparkle, right? It catches the light and gives the card a little extra something without having to add a bunch of extra embellishments. For Easter especially, I feel like the pastel colors and sparkle just go hand in hand. It gives the whole card that sweet festive feel, and honestly, I never get tired of working with these colors this time of year. So now I'm going to piece together that sweet little heart balloon and the string. I'm not totally sure the card really needed it, but I wanted to use it anyway because we're going for sweet, cheerful, and fun with this card today. And I feel like that little heart balloon just adds to that happy vibe. Next comes the little chicken, and oh my goodness, he is just too stinking cute, y'all. I couldn't leave him off the card. These little pieces here are actually from the Sizzix Easter Icon die set, which works really well with this project. I did realize though that I forgot to cut out a pink heart for the chicken to hold, so I'm going to do that really quick and add that in. And while I'm working on this, I'm curious, do you all like making Easter and spring cards? I feel like this time of year is so fun for card making with all the pastel colors and cute little critters. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy making spring cards too, or if you have a favorite Easter theme you like to use. See how fun these little Easter icons are? I can already tell I'm going to get a lot of use out of these. I could easily see myself making several different cards with these Easter die sets because there are so many cute little elements you can mix and match. I did get these off of Amazon, so I'll have them linked down below for you. Honestly, I buy a lot of my craft supplies from Amazon. It's kind of amazing what you can find on there for card making if you just go looking around. And the best part is a lot of it is available with Prime. I'm very thankful for Amazon Prime because I'm definitely the kind of person who likes a little instant gratification. I'm not very patient when it comes to waiting for craft supplies to show up. When I want to make something, I want to make it now. Okay, I really love using the Spellbinders reverse tweezers. They are my favorite, especially because they have that nice pointy tip. They are great for picking up and placing those tiny little die cuts without everything sliding around. And the embellishment wand I'm using today, it definitely comes in handy too when you're working with small pieces like this. This one I'm using is from Simon Says Stamp, and I've actually had really good luck with it. So far, that black wax tip has lasted me the longest. For some reason, it seems like whenever I use a colored wax tip, like pink or white, they seem to break pretty easily. I don't know why, but that's just been my experience with the colored tips. So this one just seems a lot sturdier to me. Now it's time to start piecing together these cute little bunnies from the Bunny Games die set. They are actually really easy to put together, y'all, which I always appreciate. The dies have these nice little etched lines on them that show you where the pieces go, so it kind of guides you as you build them. It reminds me a lot of the way Spellbinders does their etched dies, where everything just fits together nicely and makes the process pretty simple. And I have to say, these bunnies are just adorable. Watching them come together piece by piece is one of my favorite parts of using these kind of dies. I love to paper piece. So, you know, working on Easter cards like this always makes me think about Easter when I was a kid. Do y'all have any favorite Easter memories? I remember sitting around the table coloring Easter eggs with my family. I come from a large family. I have 4 sisters and a brother. So holidays were always fun. And of course, the big Easter egg hunt that we would do in the backyard, that was always so much fun. Running around trying to find all the eggs before my siblings did. Those are the kinds of memories that make Easter card making feel extra special to me. Okay, y'all, so these little bunnies, they're so adorable and so easy to put together. Like you just layer the pieces and that's it. You've got the cutest little bunny staring back at you. I wanted to show you this part because sometimes people hear paper piecing and they're like, that sounds so tedious, and it's not. It's seriously so simple, and look how adorable they turn out. See how neat Lawn Fawn's sparkle cardstock is? I just love this stuff so much. It die cuts really nicely, which is always a big deal when you're working with dies like this. Sometimes sparkle cardstock can be a little tricky, but this one cuts really clean and the pieces pop right out of the die. And the sparkle on it is just so pretty. It's not over the top, it just gives everything a nice little shimmer that catches the light. I feel like it adds a little extra something to the card without having to do a whole lot more. Plus it just feels perfect for Easter projects. Pastel colors and sparkle together just make everything feel a little more fun and festive. I always get excited when I pull this cardstock out because I know the card is going to have that extra bit of shine. These bunnies are just so precious. I know I keep saying that, but they are. I honestly can't believe it's taken me this long to get this die set. Sometimes you see a set and think, oh, that's cute. And then later when you finally get it and start using it, you realize just how fun it really is. Right now I'm just finishing up putting the little faces on the bunnies. This part is actually really easy because the dies have little markings on the face that show you exactly where the eyes, nose, and mouth go. It makes lining everything up super simple, which I always appreciate when I'm working with tiny pieces like this. So for the sentiment, I'm using the Happy Easter from the Easter Icons die set. I thought it was a really nice touch for this card. I especially love that scripty font. It's just really sweet and fits the whole soft, cheerful Easter vibe we've got going on here. So I'm just finishing with the ears here on this other bunny. And then gonna move on to putting together the sentiment. There we go. That looks good. So to give a little bit more dimension to the Easter die cuts here, the Easter sentiment, I actually die cut the sentiment 3 times, and I'm going to stack them up. I love doing this instead of using foam tape sometimes because it gives you that nice raised look but keeps everything really clean and polished. It's a simple little trick, but it really makes the sentiment stand out nicely on the card. Okay, so I know stacking these word dies like this can be a little tedious sometimes, but trust me, it's totally worth it in the end. It does take a few extra minutes to line everything up and glue each layer together, but once it's done, it just looks so much nicer. You get that really clean dimensional look without having to mess with foam tape, and I think it just makes the sentiment feel a little more finished and polished on the card. It's one of those small details that really makes a difference once everything is put together. Next up is embossing time. I pulled out my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine along with my universal plate system. I'm using a Sizzix Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder called Intertwine. It has a really neat woven basket look that feels perfect for an Easter or spring card. So for cardstock, I grabbed Tim Holtz Distress Craft Heavy Stock and some Distress Watercolor cardstock. I thought I was going to emboss both. I did emboss both. I thought I was going to make 2 backgrounds, but once I made the first one and saw how nice it looked, I decided to just go with that one. When I emboss Sizzix Tim Holtz 3D embossing folders with my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine, I use the universal plate system. I start with the A platform base, then the 3D embossing folder with the cardstock, and then 1 cutting plate on top. That's the sandwich that works for me, but every machine can be a little different, and always remember, never force anything through your machine. Now I'm going to start inking up the background using a few Distress Oxide inks in different brown tones. You could definitely use a brayer for this step, but today I'm just going direct to paper and lightly swiping the ink across the raised areas. I like doing it this way because it really helps bring out all that great texture from the embossing folder. Next, I'm going to bring out Distress Resist Spray because I want to give the background a slightly wet, glossy, almost glossy look in some areas. So Distress Resist Spray is great because it repels water-based mediums like Distress inks and sprays. So when you layer over it, you get some really interesting texture and effects. I'm using my Tim Holtz splat box while spraying just to keep the mess contained. If you ever used sprays before, you know they can get everywhere pretty quickly. After that, I'm going to grab my heat tool to help speed up the drying process. You'll know it's dry when those sprayed areas start to look a little bit shiny and feel smooth to the touch. See how cool that looks? It really does dry pretty quickly with the heat tool, so I kind of recommend that if you're impatient like me. It doesn't take long at all. And this background, doesn't it kind of look like it could be from an Easter basket? I just love that woven texture. It's such a cool effect, and once the ink hits those raised areas, it really brings it to life. It also is really neat to touch in person because you can actually feel all that texture from the embossing and the Distress Resist Spray. It just makes the background feel a little extra special. Now it's time to start assembling the card, y'all, and this is really the moment where everything comes together. It's always fun to see what you had envisioned in your head finally start to take shape on paper. I'm starting by laying down the sweet little banner up in the upper left corner there. I just thought this was really cute to add. And then I'm going to be trimming the edges of the banner so it fits nicely along the side of the card there. After that, I'm gluing down the Happy Easter sentiment. I just love that scripty font so much. It's really sweet and fits the whole feel of this card perfectly. So next I'm going to pop up the bunnies and the eggs. I'm going to be using some Altenew foam tape. I love Altenew's foam tape so much, and I found out recently that they have black foam tape in now, so I need to get that soon. It's nice and sturdy, and it gives the card that little bit of dimension that really helps the elements stand out from the background. You can already see how cute this card is coming together. Those adorable little bunnies just make the whole scene. Easter card making is just so much fun for me, and honestly it brings me so much joy. There's just something about the soft colors and these sweet little characters that make the whole process really special. Okay, so for the layout, I'm basically following what was shown on the packaging. I even tried to match the cardstock colors pretty close to what they used on the front. That just makes things easier for me because I'll be honest, I'm not always the best at picking color combinations. Sometimes it's nice to have a little inspiration right there to follow, so don't be afraid to try that. I also decided to add that little heart balloon. See that balloon there we pieced together earlier? I just thought, it gave the card a little extra sweetness. It just adds to that cute, cheerful feel we're going for. Anyways, and just wait until you see everything come together. When I start placing the little chicken, the tiny sparkly Easter eggs, the grass, those sparkly flowers, at that point the whole scene really starts to come to life. Honestly, it was totally worth all that die cutting and paper piecing once everything started coming together on the card. So just look how cute this die set is, and honestly, it really doesn't matter that it's an older die set. You can absolutely still use it today. Good dies never go out of style. I think the Bunny Games die set came out around 2021, and the Easter Icons die set was released in 2020, at least according to the back of the packaging. But that just goes to show you that you don't always need the newest products to make something really adorable. These little bunnies and Easter elements are still just as cute as today, and they make such a fun spring card. By the way, these Spellbinder scissors are so great. They are non-stick, which makes a huge difference when you're working with things like foam tape or adhesive. I've talked about these scissors a few times on my channel. I love them so much. I especially like using them when I'm cutting my foam tape because the adhesive doesn't stick to the blades the way it does with regular scissors. That just makes everything a lot easier and a lot less frustrating. They are also really sharp and precise, which is perfect for card making when you're cutting small pieces or trimming adhesives. I definitely recommend having a pair of non-stick scissors like these in your craft room. It's one of those little tools that you end up reaching for all the time once you have them. Okay, so I really felt like this card needed the little grass and the flowers. See the little pieces of grass and the flowers in the porcelain tray there that I die cut out? I just thought they were fun. Anyways, they help ground the whole scene and give the bunnies somewhere to sit so they are not just floating on the background. And it will help tie everything together, you'll see here. And it gives the card that nice springtime feel. So I'm just placing down the bunnies and the Easter eggs here and the little chicken. And this chicken is just so cute, y'all. He's really fun. So sometimes these little finishing touches like this really make the card feel complete. So what do you all think of this card so far? Do you see yourself making Easter cards or spring cards this year? I always love this time of year for card making. It already feels like spring here in Texas. The other day when I was driving, I saw bluebonnets starting to pop up, and that's always one of my favorite signs that spring has arrived. One thing I really love about springtime in Texas is all the wildflowers you see along the highways. It's just so pretty when everything starts blooming. See how adding the grass really helps ground the bunnies and the Easter eggs? See what I'm talking about there? It just gives the whole scene a place to sit instead of everything floating on the background. I'm just placing the grass around the bottom of the scene and tucking in the little flowers here and there to fill everything out. And just look at that little chicken. He even has a tiny crown. I mean, come on, that is just too cute. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up today's Easter card project, y'all. This was actually something a little different for me, creating with Sizzix dies again. I used to have some older Sizzix sets years ago. Those were actually some of the very first dies I ever bought at Michael's when I first started crafting. I don't have those anymore because I donated them a while back. But I remember those trays of alphabet dies. Do y'all remember those? They came in those big plastic trays with all the letters. That really takes me back to when I first started getting into paper crafting. Anyway, this card turned out so sweet, and it was really fun to make something bright and cheerful for Easter. If you enjoyed today's card making video, make sure to do the YouTube things. Like the video, leave me a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I would absolutely love to have you here. I'll also have everything I used in today's video linked down below so you can check it out for yourself. Thank you all so very much for watching and for supporting my channel. I truly appreciate you all more than you know. And I will see you in the next card making video, which will feature a brand new Spellbinders release. Thank you, and happy Easter crafting, my friends.